Okay, let's look at the Roku remote. Let's assume that this isn't working. A way to resolve it or a way to fix it. Figure out what's not working. I mean, is it the power button that's not working? Okay, if that's what it is, I mean, push the power button down. See if you feel it move. See if you feel it bounce back up. Whatever button's not working. I mean, if you can't hear it click, or you don't feel it bounce back up, then that button is stuck and has stuff in it, right? If you look real close here, you might be able to see a little bit of gunk right there. This is the oldest remote I have. I've had this one probably 10 years. A little bit of gunk right there in the corner. A little bit of gunk right there. A little bit of gunk right there in the corner. Not horrible though, right? So what you can do is you can get a little needle, put it in there, and kind of scrape that out a little bit. Not difficult at all. You can take the battery out. If the remote just completely is not working, chances are it's a battery, right? Unless it's a stuck button. If it's a stuck button, it's a stuck button. Just work on that button until you get that button resolved. But if it's a battery, well, you see right here, that's corrosion, right? So you get yourself a little scraper or something, and you just kind of like get that cleaned off enough to where you can the battery can make contact. This one is corroded as well, and actually this remote has been sitting in a drawer for probably 4 years. Whereas it had a battery in it that exploded and caused the corrosion. So not a big deal, not a big deal at all. But I got a new TV, so just kind of tossed the remote off to the side because it wasn't an issue. I mean, it still works because I did put a little wire brush in there and clean that off enough to get it to work. You're watching another video on this, you know, gotta take the batteries out, put the batteries in, or take the batteries out, hit the power button for 10-15 seconds. If you hit the power button within a second or two, it should discharge any buildup that's on here. Probably at the most 5 seconds. But it would discharge anything that's built up in the capacitors or anything. So, you know, the idea of putting the batteries back in and then taking them back out and then putting them back in, that's going to cause this to compress and probably break off some of that corrosion. Okay, so if it's a button issue, you won't feel the button pop back up, of which all my buttons work just fine. So it's going to be a corrosion issue. Now I don't know if this one. I mean, this one's probably pretty well toasty, but it still works. If you can't get a button freed up, right? I mean, you've hit it a couple times and it doesn't free up. I wouldn't suggest like smacking it around. I mean, you could tap it. Yeah, tap it. It might knock whatever's in there. It might knock it loose so that the button can make contact with with where it needs, right? But I wouldn't go beating it around or anything like that. I don't know why someone would tell you to do that. I mean, these things are small. They're not. I mean, they're solidly built. It's just they're not designed to be smacked around. So you get yourself a little precision screwdriver set, and you take these screws out. Don't want to lose those screws. Although if you do. If you lose one or two, it's not really that big of a deal. You can always put it, you know, back together with whatever screws you do manage to keep, and it should still work. No, that one doesn't want to come out either. I mean, they're off. They're unscrewed. That one, I don't know. It doesn't want to. Oh no, no. Well, one of them came out. Two of them aren't wanting to, so let's just go ahead and kind of try to break those free of whatever's holding them, right? There we go. Still got one. It's being a real pain. Alright, so we got those screws out, right? Well, up here's your infrared, so I don't know, you could clean that, whatever. But we're just going to try to pop this in here, pop that apart a little bit. You might break a little piece of plastic. it's okay. The screws will hold that back in, right? They're designed to stay together. And you're actually going to avoid the warranty by taking it apart, so probably best to not do that. Unless you're just curious, or if you go in by the top where the buttons are, that should give you the best option for not damaging things, is because you got the buttons there, right? So get that lid off. Now, of course we broke that button, but that's okay because that just fits right back inside that hole, so not a big deal. All right, so you get it apart, you can clean this. Yeah, that's a little dirty, not a lot, but a little. Or you can pull that off, and if for some reason it's not working, it's because there's probably something stuck here, like coffee, pop, whatever drink you drink. So clean the back of this off. Of course, mine looks pretty clean. Clean these contacts off. You know, and it's one thing. What do you use to clean it? You really don't want to use water because it causes things to oxidize. Rubbing alcohol on a Q-tip, just go very gently. I got a little bit of a spill up in here. It's a little brownish color, but nothing that's going to cause anything, because that's just glue, I think. Alright, so once you get that cleaned off, you put that back on, right? Of course, your power button, you got to make sure you get these lined up. Your power button's going to go right over top of there. And they have little metal things inside of these that whenever they make contact with the board is when it actually does something. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. We're going to take this button back out here, and we're going to, I don't know which way was up. Does it matter? I don't think it matters. I'm going to put the button right back on top of this button here. Oh, I know, I see it. It says, I think it goes that way. Oh yeah, because it said okay. And we're just going to put the lid right back on. Of course, you would have cleaned yours out, right? That's the whole reason you took it off, just to clean it. Snap her back on there. There you go. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Take the little screws and get those back in. If you're old like me, that's going to be the hardest part, is to get those back in, right? But as you can see, with that rubber gasket in there that all the buttons are in, it's really not going to be beneficial to be smacking this thing around to try to loosen something up or try to free something inside of it. It's just not. If something got stuck between the gasket and the board, it's going to be liquid. So smacking it around is not going to help it at all. Now when you do put these back in, don't over tighten them. Just get them to where they're tight. Now you can put your batteries back in there. Slide your cover back on. Everything lined back up right. We can hit the buttons. All the buttons bounce back. And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to cleaning the remote enough to get it to work again. Just be real careful if you're going to take it apart. But there's no need to go like that. That's going to do nothing. The biggest thing you're going to have is putting that battery in and out is going to clean off these contacts a little bit, just in case there is some corrosion there. It's going to clean off those contacts. But that's it. That's all it's going to do, is taking the battery in and out. And then, of course, working the buttons up and down. Is if there's a spill in there, then it might free up. It might, but if it sits for a while, if it's sticky in there and there's a spilled pop in there, and it's sticky, that's going to cause that button to stick again if it sits for a while and doesn't move. As long as you hit the buttons every once in a while, it shouldn't stick too bad. Stick a little bit, but that's why you take it apart. A little bit of rubbing alcohol, clean that board. clean the back of your rubber gasket. Go ahead and clean the front of your rubber gasket as well. And then put it all back together, and that'll get your remote working again. Or you can go buy a new one. Bye.